Good day, this is SS312, Production and Operation. I'll be taking you through study section 5. But do not forget that in the last study section, which is study section 4, you were introduced to material handling. However, in this study section, you'll be introduced to standardization and line balancing. When you have studied this section, you should be able to discuss standardization. You should be able to explain simplification. You should be able to discuss value analysis. And lastly, you should be able to explain steps in value analysis. Let's talk about standardization. Standardization means producing maximum varieties of products from the minimum varieties of materials, parts, tools, and processes. It is a process of establishing standards or unit of measure by which extent, quality, quantity, value, performance, etc. may be compared and measured. What are the advantages of standardization? 1. All the sections of company will be benefited from standardization as measured below. Benefit to the design department. Fewer specifications, drawings and part lists have to prepare and issue. More time is available to develop new design or to improve established design. Better resources allocation. Less qualified personnel can handle routine design work. What are the benefits, which is the second one, what is the benefits of standardization to the manufacturing department? Do not forget that we first of all talked about the benefits of standardization to the design department. Let's talk about the benefits of standardization to the manufacturing department. And under this, we have lower cost units. We have better quality products, better methods and tooling, increased interchangeability of parts, better utilization of manpower and equipment, and accurate delivery dates. Standardization has some disadvantages, and let's talk about a few of them. One of the disadvantages of standardization is reduction in choice because of reduced variety and consequently loss of business or customer. Secondly, reduction in standard one set resist change, and thus standardization may become an obstacle progress. That is the second disadvantage of standardization, which states that standard one set resist change, and thus standardization becomes an obstacle to progress. Also, it tends to favor only large companies. And lastly, it becomes very difficult to introduce new models because of less flexibility production and facility due to high cost of specialized production equipment. Let's talk about simplification. The concept of simplification is closely related to standardization. Simplification is the process of reducing variety of product manufacture. Simplification is concerned with the reduction of product range, assemblies, parts, of materials, and design. Simplification has some advantages, which are: number one, it involves fewer parts, varieties, and changes in products. This reduces manufacturing operations and risk obsolescence. Simplification reduces variety, that is, volume of remaining products may be increased. It also provides quick delivery and better after-sales services. It reduces inventory, and this thus results in better inventory control. It lowers production cost and reduces price of a product. Simplification, it improves quality. Simplification improves quality. Let's move on as we talk about value analysis. Value analysis is defined as an organized creative approach which has its objectives, the the efficient identification of unnecessary cost with, which provides neither quality, nor use, nor life, nor appearance, nor customer features. Value analysis focuses engineering, manufacturing, and purchasing attention to one objective equivalent performance at a lower cost. Value analysis is concerned with the cost added due to inefficient or unnecessary specifications and features. It makes its contribution in the last stage of product cycle, namely the maturity stage. Under step value analysis, we have some basic steps that must be put into consideration. One of the steps is identifying the function. Any useful product has some primary function which must be identified. A bulb to give a light, for example, a refrigerator to preserve food, and so on and so forth. In addition, it may have secondary functions such as withstanding shock, and so on and so forth. So these two must be identified. What about evaluation of the function by comparison? Value being a relative term, the comparison approach must be used to evaluate functions. The basic question is, does the function accomplish reliability at the best cost, and can be answered only by comparison. Let's talk about the third step: develop alternatives. Realistic situations must be faced. Objections should overcome, and effective engineering, manufacturing, and other alternatives must be developed. Lastly, let's talk about line balancing. Assembly line balancing often has implications for layout. This will occur when, for balance purposes, workstation size or the number used will have to be physically modified. The most common assembly line is a moving conveyor that passes a series of workstations in a uniform time, in a uniform time interval called the workstation cycle time, which is also the time between successive units coming off the end of the line. So this is the end of this section. We'll be introducing more about this topic as we go into the next study sections. Thanks for listening.